Good morning everybody. So our today's session is on communication. Communication is an instance of imparting or exchanging information, ideas or feelings. Or I have yet another definition of communication. It's the art of conveying information through exchange of thoughts, messages or information as by speech, visions, signals, writing or behavior. See, it is a meaningful exchange of information between two people or to a group of individuals. Okay, are you all clear with the definition? Yes, the communication process. So what do you mean by process? Process is a complex set of steps which has to be performed, right? So communication process involves source idea from the part of a sender. Okay, so source idea means what? Yes, this is formulation of an idea. This formulation of an idea can be influenced by external stimuli like books, periodicals, internet exploration, or it can be self-thinking about a particular subject by the sender. So that is the first thing, that is source idea. Next is the message. The message is what will be communicated. What will be communicated. See, this message is definitely based on the source idea. Next is encoding. See the word encode, code. What do you mean by code? Yeah, code is a kind of formatting, right? So code is the method by which message transmission occurs. Next is the channel. So the word literary meaning of channel itself is path, right? So channel is the path of communication. Next is the receiver. Receiver is the party who receives the message from the sender. So the sender, he formulated the idea, then he made the message, he encoded, then he chose the channel, now it reaches the receiver. Now next is the receiver's activity, which is decoding. Decoding is what? Decoding is a way of understanding the message by the receiver. So that is a process of interpretation. Then I would say it involves internalization and even comparison by the receiver with something which he already knew, so that he understands what is communicated to him fully. Fine. And then the feedback. Feedback is what? Feedback is what you give back to the person who sent the message. So this is the communication process. Now comes theories of communication. So theories of communication, something interesting and simple, which you may listen now. Communication is perception, communication is expectation, communication and information are different but they are interdependent, and finally communication is a process. Say the barriers of communication. What do you mean by barrier? If you look at the figure which I put here, see, barrier, the literal meaning of, or the word meaning of barrier means something, a kind of a hindrance, right? See, here two girls are sitting facing each other, but still they do have a barrier in the middle of them. So do you think the communication between them is going to be effective? No, not at all. So let's see the different barriers according to Kelly. See, culture. Culture is what you already have in you. Okay? Your perception is to an extent based on your culture, your tradition, your past histories and biases. Okay, types of communication. You should be able to differentiate the different types of communication with us. First, you have the types based on the channels used. What is channel? Yes, very good. Channel is pathway of communication. Okay, based on the different channels used, you have verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication again is obviously divided into oral and written. In oral communication, the sender uses words, spoken words. Okay? Spoken words, and in written communication he uses writing. He uses writing as his channel. Oral communication is definitely based on the communicator's language proficiency, the vocabulary, yes, his pitch, his tone, speed, accuracy, everything. And written communication is also based on his writing style, precision, accuracy, brevity, clarity, and things like that. Okay, then in non-verbal communication, look at this good old fellow. He is trying to communicate with you all. What do you think he is trying to tell you? But I think, didn't I tell you that the way? See, look at him pointing his index finger, and look at his face. He's got a lot of things to tell from his face. Yes? So, non-verbal communication is body language, your gestures, your facial expressions and things. Okay? Probably animals communicate mainly through their body language. They do make noises, but more than that. Like if a dog is happy with you, or if he wants to come near you, he may wag his tail, right? Isn't that a non-verbal mode of communication? Okay, so this is based on communication channels used. That is verbal and non-verbal communication. Then you have communication based on the purpose and style. You have formal communication and informal communication. You must all be relevant, knowing the word formal and informal, right? What is formal education? Formal education is coming to the school or the college to learn, whereas informal education is what you get from your parents, your neighbors, and things like that. So here, formal communication is the kind of communication that happens between a subordinate and a superior. I am just giving you an example. Okay? Here you have certain principles and rules to follow. Official conferences, corporate meetings, such things do follow the formal mode of communication, whereas informal communication is what happens between peers, family members. Here there is no specific rule. What you want to speak, you speak, maybe with slangs. Yes, that is informal mode of communication. Next. See. Before you take home, shall we just refresh what was told to you all? Okay, first we defined communication. Okay, next we discussed the communication process. Then we explained the communication cycle. You remember? Yes, source, yes. Then next we came to the different theories of communication. Yes, then following that, we were discussing about the different barriers of communication according to Kelly. Then, last, we came to the different types of communication. Yes, I hope you will be able to utilize all this in your knowledge in your clinical practice. And see, I have got a small saying by one of a very well-known critic and literary writer. No one would talk much in society if they knew how often they are misunderstood, how often they misunderstand others. Yes? If you have any doubts about today's session, you may just ask me now. If nothing, I'll give you a small assignment, a group class assignment. Yes, which will be very interesting. We have another 20 minutes left. Yes? So, I want you all to divide yourselves into groups of 10, and then each of you should sit and think of one of your childhood experience which will be interesting to the others if you narrate. Choose your own channel of communication and you may communicate it to the rest of the group. You also need to evaluate your effectiveness of communication. Can you all do that in another 20 minutes time? Okay. Thank you for your patient listening and see you next day.